Thank you, Madam Chair. Just following up on Mr. Posey's statements and then the discussion whether it's theoretically possible for the government to regulate out of business. Now, I'm taking a broader view than just the banking industry, but I would direct you to my state where we used to have 123 timber mills, and because of one regulation, all but one are shut down today. 23,000 farmers in the San Joaquin Valley, all gone because of one regulation. The banks in the area, by the way, became unstable. Suicides rose to an all-time high for any place in the country because of one regulation. So when you are unable to find, in your own experience, come on to New Mexico, come out to the West, and we'll show you a lot of areas that have been regulated out of existence. Following up on what Mr. McHenry was talking about, I suspect that he may have been on the listening in on the meetings with our bankers. I hear the same complaints there that that formerly regulators came in and they were interested in safety and soundness, and today they come in and they're 90% compliance. And so, Mr. Brown, you had said earlier in your testimony that that safety and soundness, that was your charter. Do you have any idea on the budget for safety and soundness versus the budget for compliance and the number of hours yearly spent in compliance versus safety and soundness? Does anyone on the panel have that?
Congressman, I don't believe we have those numbers.
Yeah, I'd like to get them.
But we can certainly get back to you on that.
Now, keep in mind that every time I ask questions like this, that we have a lower rate of getting back to me than the U.S. Postal Service. So anyway, I would really appreciate if you would follow up on that. Now, Ms. Eberly, you were talking about you have deep interest in making sure that there's not any hostile environment. Do you have a, well, last weekend I was going to check into the Hampton for coming up, and I was able to go on and I was able to get 5 stars or 3 stars. Is this hotel, this one at this place, rated 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars? And then I could get comments from people who had stayed there. Do you have anything like that for your process, for your examiners, so that bankers anonymously, because you've heard the hostility, no, they're not going to come to you. They're scared out of their minds. They're afraid you're going to take them over and that you're going to do something, and I think they've got valid reason looking at the 123 mills that used to be in New Mexico and they're gone. So do you have a process for feedback where you can, your raters, or where your people get rated 5 stars, 4 stars, or 3 stars? Do you have anything like that?
We do. Am I on? Yes, we do. So we do have an examination survey process. So at the end of every examination, when we mail out the report of examination, we mail a survey to the institution and ask them to complete it. I think the scale is 1 to 10.
And it talks about the individual raters themselves, the individual
about, yes, the
regulators.
The professionalism.
And what percent of those do you get back?
Pardon me?
What percent of those do you get back?
I don't know the exact percentage, but we get a fairly good number. And
pretty good number?
Yeah, and they go to our Division of Insurance and Receivership, so they don't, I'm sorry, Insurance and Research. They don't come to my division. So that division compiles the information for me and gives it to me on an aggregate basis with trends by region, so that I can see what the results are.
Do you make that information available to the bank so they know when someone's coming in what sort of examination that the last people received?
No, it's not made available to banks.
Now keep in mind, I can get that. Paid $2.99 online for some program last night, and I'm able to get that information for $2.99. Yet y'all control the banking industry of the world, and they're sitting out there alarmed at what you're doing. In New Mexico, we don't get many floods. We get 9 inches of rain a year, and yet the flood insurance is being a piece that is hammered down in New Mexico, and people, the bankers express alarm about that. Now, in a recent compliance review, one of the banks got $15,000 fine because the names did not match exactly the IRS names. I mean, can't you, again, on that $2.99 program I filled out last night, if I didn't fill it out correctly, it just wouldn't accept it. Can't you give the bank something where if they don't fill it out correctly? I mean, why did you stick somebody $15,000 for not? There were less than 100 of those names.
So was this on their
It's on loans,
Yeah,
and
so probably the
and it didn't match the IRS.
right?
Those used to be letters, and you sent them a letter of concern. And now then you're sticking people with fines that are very tough for small institutions. Traeger houses, you're making it tough to lend money on Traeger houses and on, I'll be finished in just a second, Madam Chair, you've been very patient. New Mexico's 47th per capita income. If you can't lend for Traeger houses, and if you can't lend for consumer stuff, what purpose is there in New Mexico? That's us. We're at the bottom of the heap. You guys are making it very tough for New Mexico to get access to loans. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Gentleman yields back.